Have you ever sat through a class where a teacher just drew a box on a whiteboard, and then another box, and then drew an arrow between them, and confidently called the whole thing a process flow diagram? You probably copied it down, memorized the names of the boxes, but let's be honest, you never once understood what any of it actually meant in the real world. Words like unit operations or mass balance get tossed around, and everybody just kind of nods along, mostly because admitting you're confused feels way worse than staying quiet. Well, this explainer is absolutely not going to hand you formulas to memorize. We are going to wipe that confusing whiteboard entirely clean and look at reality. Okay, let's clear up the absolute biggest misconception right out of the gate. Chemistry is all about the what. It asks what reaction happens between certain substances. And, it works perfectly in a small glass beaker on a lab bench. But chemical engineering? That is a whole different beast. It's about logistics and scale. It asks how to run that exact same reaction on a scale of literally 1,000,000 gallons, and how to do it continuously, safely, and profitably. Because it turns out a reaction that works flawlessly in a tiny container behaves completely differently when you try to scale it up to the size of a factory. Heat doesn't spread the same way. Mixing isn't instant anymore. Chemical engineering is the discipline that was built to solve that exact problem. The very first core idea you need to know is the unit operation. A unit operation is just a single physical step. We're talking heating, mixing, separating, pumping, that's it. And this matters because every complex industrial process, no matter how intimidating or insanely colossal it looks from the highway, is really just a chain of these very simple physical steps performed one right after another. To picture this, just think about your local coffee shop. First, water gets heated. Boom. That's a unit operation. Second, that hot water passes through ground coffee to extract flavor. That extraction, another unit operation. Finally, the whole mixture gets filtered to separate the liquid coffee from the solid grounds. Filtering is a third unit operation. Stringing them together in the exact right order is what produces your morning coffee. So when engineers design a chemical plant, they usually aren't inventing brand new chemistry. They're really just figuring out which of these unit operations to use, in what order, and exactly how big to make them. Our second foundational block is something called the mass balance. This is essentially the practice of tracking exactly how much material enters a process and exactly how much leaves it in every single form, whether that's final product, waste, or just lost material. Think about a city's water utility. If 1,000,000 gallons leave the treatment plant, but only say 800,000 gallons are actually accounted for at customers' homes, well, that missing gap points to a hidden leak somewhere in the pipe network. A super careful mass balance is exactly how you catch problems before they balloon into massive, incredibly expensive disasters. Now we apply that exact same logic to energy. This is the energy balance. It literally just tracks how much heat or energy enters and leaves a system. Why is this so crucial? Because in almost all industrial processes, the energy cost is by far the single biggest expense. So the huge takeaway here is pretty simple. Wasting heat is literally the exact same thing as burning money. Imagine a factory with two different processes. One naturally generates a ton of excess heat, and the other one requires heat to run. If you just vent all that heat from the first one up into the sky and then pay to run a massive furnace for the second one, you are basically paying for energy twice. Tracking your energy separates an incredibly efficient, profitable plant from a ridiculously expensive one. First up in the hardware department, the heat exchanger. This is a brilliant device that transfers heat from one fluid to another without letting the two fluids physically mix. Reusing heat that already exists is almost always vastly cheaper than generating brand new heat from scratch. And you know what? You actually own one of these already. It's the radiator in your car. Hot coolant from your engine passes through these thin little channels, and the air flowing past pulls the heat away. It cools the liquid without the air in the liquid ever actually touching. Next up is distillation, or separation. Almost nothing useful ever arrives from nature already nicely separated into a pure form, right? Distillation uses differences in boiling points to split a raw mixture into its individual parts. Take crude oil, for example. By itself, it's just a thick, mostly useless liquid. But an oil refinery heats it up in a massive, tall distillation tower. Because every single compound in that crude oil boils at a completely different temperature, they actually separate out at different heights in the tower. That one raw mixture magically gives us gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and asphalt, all separated out. Our third piece of hardware is the reactor. A reactor is simply a vessel specifically designed to safely control where and how a chemical reaction happens at scale. Managing temperature, pressure, and mixing all at the exact same time is absolutely critical, because a reaction that is totally safe in a tiny test tube can be incredibly dangerous at a huge volume. A municipal water treatment plant, for example, uses a reactor to add chlorine to our drinking water. If that reactor doesn't mix the water perfectly evenly, parts of the water supply could end up undertreated, creating a very real contamination risk. The reactor ensures it happens safely and consistently every single time. This is exactly where process control comes into play. Process control refers to all the sensors and automated systems that are constantly monitoring and adjusting temperature, pressure, and flow to keep a plant within totally safe limits. At an industrial scale, a human reacting manually to a problem, that is simply way too slow. Think of your home thermostat. It senses the room temperature dropping and automatically clicks your heating on. A chemical plant uses that exact same basic idea, just scaled up dramatically. It can automatically shut off a valve the very instant pressure rises past a safe threshold, reacting in mere seconds instead of minutes. And that leads us to the final core concept for today: scale up. This is the monumental, head-scratching challenge of taking a process that works beautifully in a small lab and making it work reliably in a full-size plant. Heat transfer and mixing do not just scale up in a simple straight-line way. For instance, if a home brewer makes an amazing, award-winning batch of beer in a little 5-gallon container, and then a massive commercial brewery tries to just replicate it at 50 times the volume, the beer can taste noticeably different. Heat spreads completely differently in a massive vat, and mixing behaves differently too. Success at a small scale absolutely never guarantees success at a large one. Let's actually trace the journey of one single barrel of crude oil through a refinery to see all this in action. First, the engineers use a mass balance to track exactly how much crude enters the plant, ensuring every single drop is accounted for. Before that oil even reaches the main tower, it passes through heat exchangers, which brilliantly use the waste heat from outgoing process streams to preheat the incoming crude. This saves an absolute fortune in energy. Then, the preheated oil enters the distillation tower, separating into gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. And throughout this entire journey, automated process control systems are making split-second adjustments to keep the pressure and temperature perfectly safe. All these concepts are working together continuously on that one single barrel of oil. So, now that we've seen it all in action, let's rapid fire through some common myths people have about this field. First up, scaling. The big myth here is that if it works in a lab, it just automatically works bigger. The reality? Heat and mixing act completely differently at massive scales. Second, mass balance. People tend to think it's just simple addition of what goes in and out. But actually, the reality is you must painstakingly account for things like hidden waste and escaping gas. And third, process control. The classic movie myth is a human sitting in a chair frantically watching a massive wall of gauges. The reality? It is a highly automated system reacting instantly, far, far faster than is humanly possible. And honestly, what's really amazing is that this industrial framework applies directly to your everyday life. When your water bill spikes unexpectedly, you now know that a hidden leak is the likely culprit. You are literally thinking in terms of mass balance. You now understand exactly why keeping your car's radiator clean protects your engine. That is heat exchangers in action. You know why your absolute favorite small batch craft beer might taste a little different when the company goes national? That's the challenge of scale up. And those automatic safety shutoffs on your home furnace? Yep, that is process control working to keep your house safe. So I want to leave you with this question to think about. Next time you drive past a factory or a refinery, or even just look at your own home utilities, what are you going to see? Will it still be an intimidating, confusing wall of pipes and unexplained vocabulary? Or will you see a perfectly logical, tracked, and brilliantly controlled chain of physical steps? Chemical engineering is really simply the discipline of controlling and safely running reality. Once you know how the pieces fit together, I promise you, the world looks entirely different. Keep learning, keep observing, and we will see you in the next explainer.